every man's dream. Improve the amount of jiu-jitsu that they can do every week with less of the adverse effects. This is a real problem in the jiu-jitsu world because your coach is saying, do more mat time. Your body is saying, whoa, 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 hold on a bit, big lad. And your mind overrides the body and listens to the coach and does more mat time. However, it gets to a point where the consequences of that more mat time start to have a negative effect on your quality of life. Whether that's simple things like walking up and down the stairs, getting in and out of your car, getting out of bed in the morning, or potentially taking a sick day from work. This video is going to really challenge you to make a mindset shift. And it's the fundamental mindset shift that is required to increase your capacity to do more jiu-jitsu with less of the adverse effects. Before I even get into that, I'm just going to say this one point. The demands in which you place on your body, whether that is work, whether that is family life, whether that is jiu-jitsu, create stress, right? How can you go about making your body absorb that stress better without changing the thing? Without training each side equally on the mats, without, picking your training partners, without diminishing the flame of jiu-jitsu, how can we increase our ability to do more of that in a more crazy manner without affecting that at all? I'm going to talk about mindset. This video is going to be criticizing mindset because I can give you all the workouts, all the meal plans, tell you to sleep 8-9 hours a night. It doesn't make a fucking difference because most people on the mats are repulsed by actually what is required. Jiu-jitsu is high emotion environment. Coaches nowadays, unbelievable social banter, speaking, jokes, humor, comedy, brotherhood, friends at the gym. We've got a learning experience, we've got fear, we've got developing, getting better. There's problem solving every millisecond. There is outsmarting and all of this stuff is just pure emotional, amazing. It's just unbelievably powerful, potent learning, mental health environment, right? But for your physical, like for your body, it's absolutely one of the worst things you can ever do, right? But you don't care and you are repulsed by the idea of developing yourself physically, right? And the reason for it is because you put everything on the same, you want the same emotional stimulus from other training off the mat. You want that same, I want to learn, I want to do this, I want to do a bit of that, I want to wing it today, I want to try this, I want to try that, I want to do a bit of this. You are repulsed by the idea of having numbers as a foundation. And without having numbers as a foundation, just like the builder who builds your house, who measures everything out perfectly with precision, because precision matters when it is your structure. You are repulsed by the idea of training logically because you are used to and you absolutely love jiu-jitsu, which is highly emotional. The thought of following a meal plan to give you high energy, high recovery repulses you. The thought of training, doing the same 10 exercises, full body training session for 6 months, twice per week, absolutely repulses you because you're trying to place it on a high stimulus, fear, learning, problem solving type of stool. It's not realistic. All you are doing is building your structure. Listen, if you cannot start to, or just get yourself through it, or even better than that, start to pride yourself in your own personal numbers of improving the reps, improving the level of strength in which your joints have, improving the numbers in which you lift. If you cannot pride yourself in that, there is absolutely no hope. I swear to God, I say this, there is no hope. Absolutely no hope. Because think about this, right? Think about, on one side, you've got the Jiu-Jitsu flame, right? In order to keep that going, you have to have, you've got one side of the skill which is emotion, right? And you've got one side of the skill which is logic. You need to have a balance of both of them every single week. Every single week, and I get that. Most people just do Jiu-Jitsu, all right? But you're not going to be doing Jiu-Jitsu for much longer if you cannot pride yourself in logical training. And, you know, Jiu-Jitsu, there's distractions, there's banter, there's what your mate's doing, you know, how's work, all that stuff happening while you're doing technique. Not bothered about that stuff. I'm bothered about keeping you doing that stuff and improving the amount of that stuff you can do and the quality of it, right? So, weights, strength training. The only way you can develop your strength is if you record how many repetitions you do on every exercise. If you record how much you lift on every exercise, and you stick to the same sequence of exercises every single session. You may see that as boring. However, think about it not as boring. Think about it as laser focused capacity work, which is going to improve the quality of your jiu-jitsu and the quantity of jiu-jitsu that you can do. Until you make that mindset shift from high stimulation to stillness and focus and not being interrupted, honestly, your life will be a complete roller coaster. A roller coaster of injuries, of quick fixes, of not being in physical condition in which you want, not having good energy throughout the day, having, you know, poor energy for family life, poor energy for work. Thinking comes into the mix as well. Poor ability to learn information, process information. We're sucked into something powerful, right? And I can honestly hold my hand on my heart and say I'm 7 years deep into my jiu-jitsu journey. The best thing I've ever experienced in my life for mental health. But we become so sucked into that rabbit hole that everything else repulses us. And that shit is dangerous, lads. That's it from me.